I was talking about the New York Times best-selling author, Dr. Ian Smith, also the co-host of The Rachel Ray Show. Dr. Smith, and also, too, you have been so busy, so thanks for stopping by the Val Beebe Show. And I can't forget your great book, Shred. Kind of changed my life with that revolutionary diet.
Thank you. It's always good to be with you, Valder.
We got the cold and flu season coming up. What can you help us with? Because nobody wants to get the cold or get the flu.
Well, unfortunately, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but it doesn't look good for us this season for two reasons. One, because when we look over to Asia and Australia, which is where we always look before our season, they have their season earlier, April to September. And so that gives us an indication of what we can expect. And Australia is reporting the worst season in the last 5 years. The other issue, Valder, is that, as you know, COVID mandates and precautions have been relaxed dramatically over the last 6 to 8 months. And so people aren't wearing masks as much, and they're not cleaning their hands and cleaning surfaces as much as they were in the past. No more social distancing. So those things that we were doing to prevent COVID were really good at preventing cold and flu. In fact, the last several years, we saw the lowest numbers of cold and flu cases than we've seen in a very long time. Well, those numbers are probably going to tick back up now that people are not wearing their mask and not practicing great hygiene. So it doesn't look good. We remain hopeful, but people need to be mindful of the things that they need to do to prevent the transmission of cold and flu.
I have this question from Instagram that came in earlier this morning. They want to know, is taking the COVID test the way of knowing you have COVID? Because they say thought they had the flu, but the test showed that they had COVID.
Well, the cold and flu virus, as well as COVID, they are three very different viruses, but they all have very similar symptoms. So it's not easy to tell if you have cold or flu just based on the symptoms. And so people, if they are suspicious that they may have COVID, based on symptoms, based on possible exposure, where they've been, then you need to get a COVID test. But you can also, at the same time, get a flu test to see if it's the flu or if it's COVID. So I recommend that people are very conservative and cautious and go ahead and get that test just to know exactly where you stand.
Thank you. I didn't know there was a flu test. Thank you for that, Dr. Smith. Okay, what are the preventive measures for getting any of these, if there are any?
Well, it starts with the vaccine. We are still in the midst of the pandemic. It's not over. There are still cases. People, unfortunately, are still dying. Make sure you get your COVID vaccine and your booster shots. Also, make sure you're getting your flu shot. The flu shot does not protect against COVID. The COVID shot does not protect against the flu. They don't work with each other. They're two very different viruses. Also, the flu virus needs to be taken every year because every year there are different strains that we are trying to protect against when it comes to the flu. There's not just one strain of the flu. There are many strains of the flu virus, and the vaccine is comprised of those strains that we think are going to be most prevalent during the current season. So get your flu vaccine every year. Wear your mask again when you're going to be in those places that are crowded, planes, trains, buses, rooms with strangers. Clean your surfaces like you were doing in the middle of COVID. Sanitize your hands, wash your hands. Make sure you're coughing and sneezing into your elbow. The things that we were doing to prevent COVID are things we should also be doing to prevent cold and flu. And if we do those things, then the numbers will stay down.
Great advice, Dr. Ian Smith. Okay, finally, what over-the-counter products that are available when you do confirm you have a cold?
Well, there are a lot of over-the-counter products that are available in your pharmacy. It can be kind of confusing sometimes. But the two active ingredients I suggest people look for, one is called guaifenesin. That's important because it helps to thin your mucus so you can clear your mucus out better. The other thing is called dextromethorphan, and that is a protection against cough. It suppresses your cough so you're not having that nasty cough as often. So look for those two ingredients in the back of the label on your box or on the bottle itself. In my house, we choose to use the Mucinex extended release tablets. They provide up to 12 hours of symptom relief. Helps with that chest congestion, helps with that cough up to 12 hours. And so you can always go to your pharmacist and they can make those kind of recommendations for you.
Dr. Smith, you've given us some great advice. You've wrapped up the cold, the flu, the COVID, and how to be more hygienic about avoiding those things. What's going on a little bit personally before I let you go? I know you're everywhere.
Yeah, well, I'm always writing. So I have a new book coming out in April. It's available now to order, actually pre-order. It's called The Met Flex Diet. I'm excited about that. And then in June, I have the third installment of my mystery series, the Ash Kane series. It's called The Overnights. And so both of those books, people can go online and check them out. But I'll be hopefully talking to you in April about the Met Flex Diet.
Do we get to give you the title of the hardest working doctor in TV?
Well, I just try to live life the most I can. That's all.
You're doing a great job. We love vicariously living your success. So thank you for stopping by the Valder Beebe Show.
Always nice to talk to you, Valder. Valder, take care.
I'm Valder Beebe. I broadcast on radio, streaming TV, podcast, and in print publications. I interview the world's most fascinating authors, all because I love a good book. This summer, I've partnered with WPS for Beebe's Summer Book Giveaway. We're giving away New York Times bestsellers and award-winning books. Books that inspire me, and I'm sure they'll inspire you. To be eligible to win a copy of Jesus Can Give You a New Life, answer this question. What is God's greatest gift to mankind? You'll find the answer in John 3:16 of the Bible. Send your response to the email at the bottom of the screen. I'm Valder Beebe, and I'll see you for the next Beebe Summer Book Giveaway.